Hello, I'm Saketh.
I'm Sanya.
I'm Diana.
Our mentor is Christopher.
And we created the CodeLabs restaurant.
So the purpose of our project was to help create an easy-to-navigate American food restaurant website using both Angular and Bootstrap. So one of our goals was to appeal to different groups of people, as well as to ensure that the menu itself would meet a large scale of dietary preferences. So user experience was really big in our project.
Just elaborating on that variety of menu options, as you can see in this screen grab here, we emphasized vegan and gluten-free for the user to see in the menu page. And also, things like the menu were CSS heavy for more of a clean look and greater accessibility for the user.
The user experience of the project is quite intuitive. It follows the same navigation tree as other famous restaurants, and it is presented in a simple layout through components. The website has a home page, a menu page with all the food that is being offered at the restaurants, a location page which has all the locations available in the United States in a map, a reservation page where the person can reserve a table for two or more, a checkout page that is under construction right now, and a about page that has a basic description of the restaurant. To build the website, we worked with Angular JavaScript framework. For the design elements, we used Bootstrap style sheet. The general structure of the website is to display the nav on all pages and use router outlet to display the main content.
So we created components for every part of the website. So the header, the footer, and then every single web page that would show up. And even though we did pagination for the reservations page, where there's first a reservation order page and a confirmation page, we didn't directly declare any of the components in like their pathway inside of one another, as you can see by the screen grab. And it's important to note that we imported browser module and forms module. And browser module was essentially what would help us render our web page even just locally on the browser. And forms module helped us in creating forms in the reservation page and for the user's data to actually be saved and used in the confirmation. And then for the framework routing and through Angular, we made path names for every single page component so that when you entered, like when you click on the buttons on the header, those would actually work. And an important thing to note is that we made a blank path for landing component, which is essentially our home page component, so that that'll be the default whenever you do ng serve and run the website locally. And also so that for like cleanliness of the presentation, you wouldn't see the landing component like path name in the URL. And then this page shows you how we have all of those buttons in the header: menu, locations, reservations, checkout, about. And as you can see in the previous slide, we declared all of those as path names. And then we implemented those router links into our header file as shown in the code screen grab here. So for pagination of Angular components, this was something that was crucial to making our reservations page more dynamic and robust. So the first page was making the reservation, and the second page was making the confirmation. But how do we do this without nesting the confirmation page within the reservations component? We used a Typescript function so that on the reservations page, which has a form and a submit button, once the user enters the submit button, the Typescript function will implement increment page num to 2, and then we add logic on that reservations component so that once the page number was at 2, there wouldn't be routing through a router link to the second page, but just a call to the second page component, carrying through the name, time, and city variable values. And then this image just shows our reservation to confirmation page in action. So the user would enter the name field, and then that second field is a form group for the different locations, and then the time. And then once the user clicks submit, they would get something on the confirmation page with their order information.
So for displaying the locations of the restaurant, we use Leaflet API. Using the ng for loop, we were able to update the locations in the map and reservations at once without having to repeat the same statement again and again with different values. And then we were able to get the data from an external array in JavaScript that stores the coordinates of the restaurant. So this is the map of the website, in the website, with all the locations of the restaurants using the API before we talked before.
So as mentioned earlier, we did have to use Bootstrap as well to help make our website more visually appealing as well as increase utility. We mainly use Bootstrap to help us in sizing and formatting the columns and rows of the web pages, particularly in the menu. And we used it as well to create the buttons for the header and the submit button on the reservation form. And on the reservation form, we use Bootstrap to create the name fields and the group to choose locations, as well as mentioned the submit button.
So what did we learn in making this project? Well, we learned how to create a production level website using Angular. We understood the dynamics of routing module and implemented the lazy loading feature when possible. For the reservations page, we learned how to create a basic pagination system that navigates between components in one page. And we learned to use Bootstrap and build faster website UI.
So working on this website in the future, what we hope we could create a sticky header, because the one that we have currently is when you scroll down, the header disappears. So a sticky header would make it much more helpful for user experience and making it always accessible. As well as create a checkout page with input validation and include that as well with the reservation page. Make sure that also has input validation. And we were hoping to get more time to do back-end work to create a database for the user information that was implemented, and hopefully make the menu more interactive, such as when you click on the actual food item, an image will pop up to see what the customer would get.
We definitely created a mostly functional website that represents a real restaurant website experience, but creating a checkout is definitely one of the first priorities, because as of now, the user can only really make a reservation and see when their reservation is, whereas having a checkout and having that connection between the user entering input not only for pickup time and location, but also the menu items they want would really help.
Well, all of the code is hosted on the GitHub repository. You can use the link or scan the QR code to access the code.
And then this is just all of our contact information for me, Sanya, Saketh, Diana, and our mentor, Christopher. And if you have any more questions, you can contact us through either of these forms, GitHub or email. And yeah, we hope you enjoyed our presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.